So Mickey, my name's Caoimhe McShane and I'd just like you to thank you for taking the time out today to be my local sporting hero.
Thanks, Kiva. Thanks for asking me. Very nice of you.
And I'd just like to start by asking you a few questions on your childhood, if that's okay.
Grand, yeah.
So whereabouts did you grow up?
I grew up on the Crossing Road in Mayo Bridge.
And did you play for Mayo Bridge when you were young?
Yes, well, back then the earliest you could play was under 14s. So we started off in the primary school. So we learned how to play football first of all in the primary school, and then a local hero of mine, Tom O'Hare, who won an All-Ireland in 1968, he brought the Sam Maguire to the school in 68. I was a pupil at that time, and that inspired me, and that's what started me on football.
You mentioned about your local sporting hero bringing it to your school. How did it feel?
It was amazing because when you're growing up as a child, you know, you watch your heroes and you've been watching football from a young age. So to see him bring the Sam Maguire, which when I was 5 or 6 at that time, you can imagine the excitement around the school with everybody. But Down winning the All-Ireland in 68 was certainly my earliest memory of great days for Down.
Did any of your siblings play football with you?
My brothers and were involved. One of them played for Down along with me, Peter, and my other 4 brothers all played for Mayo Bridge. My 2 sisters both played camogie for Mayo Bridge, and then my own sons, my eldest boy plays football for Mayo Bridge, but the other 2 sons have no interest.
So what secondary school did you go to?
I went to St Mark's in One Point.
Did you play any other sports except from Gaelic and St Mark's?
I played hurling, I played basketball, I was on the judo team, I was on the athletics team. The teacher kept giving off to me about getting out of classes for so many sports, and I should have been staying in class instead of getting out to go to all these competitions. But I really enjoyed my time at St Mark's. Some great coaches there. Mickey Linden was my coach at that time.
Did you have any other memories from any high school?
Probably the biggest memory I have is playing in the Ulster final when we were playing under 16s. It actually went to the second replay and we were beaten by a point in the final. Disappointing at the end of it, but there were great days. The school had previously won the All-Ireland 4 times before I got to that age, so it was disappointing at the end of the day, but those are the memories I have. I also won a Down hurling medal, which was a bit unheard of for a South Down team to win and beat an East Down team in the final at that time.
Would you ever put education before sport?
Unfortunately I didn't back then, but after I left school I thought, you know, I better do a wee bit. So I went back and went to the TAC after I left St Mark's and studied and did my BTEC 1 day a week, as I was serving my time as a mechanic.
When did you start playing for Down?
I started to play when I left Down Minors, which was in 1982. The National League used to be played in October at that time, so my first game was against Meath in 1982 in the league, and then I played my first championship match the following year. 81 that was, and then it was 82 I played my first championship match.
Do you have any injuries from whenever you started playing for Down that suffered throughout your career?
Fortunately, I was very fortunate. I didn't have any serious injuries at all, and probably that's why I played so long for Down, that I didn't pick up any serious injuries whatsoever. Usual sort of muscle injuries, as in calf strains and hamstrings now and again, but didn't have any ankle injuries, didn't have any serious knee injuries or groin injuries that a lot of my teammates had. So I was very fortunate in that regard.
What was your best match for Down?
For Down probably was the 1994 first game against Derry. We'd won the All-Ireland in 91, and then we had a couple of bad years where we were beaten by Derry in the first round in 92 and 93, and in 94 it was really either we're going to push on here and do something this year, and Derry had been All-Ireland champions, so we were playing them in the first round of the Ulster Championship in Derry, and it was a huge game. I would say that was probably my best game. I scored 6 points.
Can you remember what the atmosphere was like at it?
I can. It was a beautiful day. It's a well documented game. It's been seen many times. It was on actually live on RT that time, and atmosphere is tremendous. The fact that Derry were Ireland champions at the time added to the whole atmosphere as well, and the fact that we beat them on the day was a huge win for us.
Whenever you won your first All Ireland, what was it any different to the feeling that you had whenever you won your second?
I don't think anything will ever beat the first time you do anything, you know. So as much as '94 was brilliant as well, you know, but winning it for the first time, you know, you can imagine you've been trying to do this for so long, and as a kid you're growing up, you want to win an All Ireland medal. So the first time you win it, I don't think anything ever surpassed that, you know. Although '94 came close.
Did it feel good how you were the first ones to win it in so many years?
It did, yeah, because it was a long time since Down had won it. So the Down team of the '60s had been held in such high regard, and nobody had ever won it since that, since '68. So it had been a long time, 23 years. So it was great to win it and get that feeling back for the Down supporters.
Many people say you and Greg Blaney worked well together. Do you think that you worked well together?
I think they did, yeah. I think the fact that Greg is the same as myself, he's 6 months older than me, and we played at minor level together, we played at under 21 together, and we just knew each other's game very well. And a lot of people would have said we're nearly telepathic on the field, that whenever he got the ball, that I was just automatically running. I knew that Greg, whenever he gets the ball, he's always getting the head up and looking right away for a quick ball in. So I knew to be on run early, make my runs early, and he was able to find me so many times. So I suppose having played with somebody for so many years, you do become very comfortable and you know their game, and that's very important in a team.
See, for any other team players, was there anyone that stood out for you to play against?
Back in '91, Meath were a phenomenal team. You know, they'd won a couple of Irelands. They had a fantastic team and some brilliant players. So the likes of Colin O'Rourke, Jerry McEntee, Martin O'Connell, you know, all those players were fantastic. That was probably the biggest team at the time. So for us to beat them in '91 was a fantastic achievement.
Whenever you were nominated for one of your All-Stars, how does it feel?
Fantastic, really is. I was nominated 5 times, only won 1. So, you know, at the same time, it's nice to be honoured. You know, I think I was very unfortunate not to win one in '91, but at the same time, there's nothing you can do about a nomination for an All-Star, because at that time it was picked by the press, so it really just came down to whatever they felt on the day. But winning an All-Ireland medal, that's in your hands, isn't it? So that was more important than anything else. But it's nice to get the honour.
Did you ever think that you were that popular?
Pardon?
Do you ever think that you were that popular?
No, never did. No.
Does it feel how whenever you actually won the nomination, did you feel any different?
Not a bit, no. It's nice to get that award, okay, but at the end of the day, what players want to achieve and what they want to do is win the medals. You know, anything else that comes behind that is a bonus. You know, people maybe overstate what All-Stars are. It's really about winning the All-Ireland medal. That's the most important thing.
See, whenever you win the Ulster Championship,
yes.
Is it any different to winning the All-Ireland?
Well, it's a stepping stone to win All-Ireland, isn't it? And it's changed now, because back in our day, you had to go through the Ulster Championship system, and if you're knocked out in Ulster, there was no back door, you couldn't get back in again. So it was crucial to win the Ulster Championship, and of course, a bit like winning your Ireland for the first time, winning the Ulster Championship for the first time was tremendous too. You know, I had won at under 21 level, but it's never the same as winning one at senior level. And you know, I've played in 6 of them and only won 2 at senior level. So, you know, you get a lot of disappointments along the road as well. You know, so but the 2 that we did win, we managed to go on and win All Ireland.
Whenever, besides from the Gaelic, was there any other memories that you have from your athletics?
Well, I took up athletics when I was in my 40s, just really, when I'd nearly finished playing football. I was always fairly quick on the field, and I always wanted to sort of test myself against athletes then, you know, in that sport. And it was just through meeting a former Tyrone footballer who was competing in Masters Athletics, and he introduced me to it, and I managed to win 3 or 4 All-Ireland titles of that as well at 60 metres, and then I went on to win or to hold the Irish record at over 50s for 60 metres.
Did you ever play against the man from Tyrone that you mentioned?
No, because he's about 20 years older than me, and he's still running.
Whenever you've managed Mayo Bridge, have you won any key highlights?
When I managed Mayo Bridge for 3 years when I finished playing, and we won the championship three years in a row, so I've very happy memories there. Unfortunately, we got beaten in the Ulster final against a very good Cross Midland team, but a lot of great memories there. Winning and managing the team, was another stepping stone from. It's not the same as playing, but it still gives you a great reward to manage the team.
Would you ever think that you'd manage Down?
I was asked, but I haven't got involved yet. Not saying I wouldn't ever do it, but I don't know if I would have time to do it. But it would be a great honour to do as well.
Who else have you managed for?
I managed my local team, Down GAA. I've managed Newry Shamrocks, and I managed Caoimhe.
Did you win anything? Did you bring them to any championships?
Not championship, but I won a league with Down GAA Division 3, brought them out of Division 3. Didn't have any success with Newry Shamrocks or Caoimhe, but I felt I improved the team, and that's all you can do, isn't it?
What you see that ladies Gaelic football has come into more popular now. Back whenever you were playing, would it have been as popular?
No, it wouldn't. It's very popular at the minute, but back then it wasn't really, and you had very few underage teams. There were a few senior teams, but there are an awful lot more senior teams now. It's great to see it. The skill level is very high. I would watch it regular at senior level on TV. Tina G covers a lot of the football, and I've been following Correspondence, who's a fantastic player. It seems to be doing well in Australia at the minute too, isn't it?
Yeah. Would any girls that played with you because nowadays under sixes sometimes clash?
Yeah. Back then there wasn't, it was, well, a lot of my football in primary school, is that what you're talking about, that young? It was usually just schoolyard football, and it's usually playing soccer just in the yard was where we learned a lot of our ground skills. And at underage there were no girls teams then. It was all camogie, and the girls were just playing camogie. There was no real football, Gaelic football back then.
Did you feel that you had any competition whenever you were in primary school?
We only had 2 games. One was against our locals, Burn. We played them in Burn, and then they came up to Mayo Bridge and played us. So it used to be 50-50, but they're very competitive.
See nowadays, what was your best advice that you look back on now?
In what regard?
Like you were given whenever you were a young child?
Well, probably that when I look back at the advice Tom O'Hare gave me when I was coming up at underage, especially under 12, under 14, about the importance of just practice. Practice makes perfect, and he had been telling us all the time to get out on the field, kicking the ball over the bar. The balls are always there for you. Go to the clubhouse, take them out, and we would have done that regular. Myself and a couple of mates just go to the club and kick the ball constantly over the bar. It was when I went to St Mark's that Mickey Linden, he got me to use my left foot, and it was only when I was 13 or 14 that I started to do that. And the amount of points I've scored with my left foot, which would be my weak foot at that time, but through Barney's coaching up through St Mark's, I perfected that. And it's funny when some of the people from some of my family were listening back to the commentary of the All-Ireland final in '91, and Micheál Marharty was doing the commentary, and I had kicked a point with my left foot, and he said, "Yeah, Mickey Linden has scored one of the point with his naturally left foot." So he thought it was naturally left-footed. So I thought, well, you can't get any better than that, perfected it.
What would be the best advice that you would give to someone now?
If you want to play at the highest level, you have to be very determined, very committed, and back to what Tom Hurst said to me, you just have to keep practicing. Personally, myself, I would say the skill level has gone down because there's an awful emphasis on strength and conditioning and fitness, and I think the skill level has dropped a wee bit. I would like to see that turn about where people are spending more time in the field than in the gym.
Do you think education has taken a big impact on sport now?
It has, yes, because even back when we were playing, even in the early 90s, you know, I would have gone to and played matches and been dehydrated, not know what was wrong with me, because just the education wasn't there for you to really hydrate before you go to the games, and even what you eat before the games and things like that there has changed dramatically, and people are far better educated now than what we were, certainly coming up through the 80s and 90s.
Thank you very much, Mickey, for taking the time to come out here and talk to me.
Thank you, that was very interesting and glad to help you out.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.